Hello, this is Sean Ashcraft, and welcome to this training series, the Aquawizard training series for new and old employees. I'm Sean Ashcraft, your instructor for today, and today we're going to be talking about the Aquawizard Audio Sound System 2000 and how to operate it in a live sound environment or in a headphoned band practice environment. That's the big one I think we're going to focus on here today. So, I am going to switch over the screen to various things, but before I do that, let's orient ourselves with the physical environment. So, here is component number 1 of the Aquawizard Audiowizard Sound System. It's a Penelope. Say hi, Penelope. Scooch over here. There you go. There we go. That's Penelope. So anyway, the cat is Penelope. I don't name my stuff other than this is the Aquawizard Audio Sound System, or the Aquawizard Audiowizard Sound System 2000, or AASS 2000. And just for orientation purposes, this unit here. I believe the existing employees of Aquawizard are probably familiar, but the new Terrys and everything, just orienting yourself for this is the headphone distribution system, and basically each channel, you got your channel 1 here, you got your channel 2. It's got like lights and stuff. Basically each headphone, you can plug in a headphone into each channel, and you get some signal into that headphone. So there's, for each channel, there's like 4 knobs or whatever. And one of the knobs says balance, and if you plug it in the right way, if you switch it to if you have it over on the left, you're listening to like the main mix that everyone's sharing and listening to, or I have it set up. Check 1. Oops, sorry. Microphone issues, technical difficulties here. Sorry about that. Oh, that's because I was adjusting the headphone, and that's my headphones that I'm adjusting right now. So I thought that I had some technical difficulties. So now that I'm waking up, you turn the balance knob to switch it to your own personalized headphone mix, if you have it routed correctly. So you don't have to worry about that part, but I just wanted to, when you plug in your headphones, you're going to get your headphones there, they're going to be in there, and they're going to be plugged in, and you get it on probably all the way over on the right there. You should hear your own mix. And then there's this level knob. You can crank that up if you need more headphone for your own headphones, or you can turn that down. And then there's a bass and treble knob. You can just goof with it if you need more bass, if you need more treble. You just do what you need to do there. And then there's 2 more. There's a mono L and a mono R. Normally, headphones are in stereo because you have 2 ears. And if you just want to hear one of the things, you can try that. But for some reason, I think this is a slightly defective unit because channel 2, I think, only does the left one, so I just leave it with the blue one there, and just to kind of make things even, when I'm not using it, I'll have this right. But normally whoever's listening on the 3rd channel, it'll look like that, but I don't really know why I'm pointing that out, but just, typical headphone operation. And then the second unit here is my lower end microphone inputs, but it also is on the back. I'm not going to show the back because it's just, you can't even really see what's going on, but it has outputs, and so the outputs are what feed the headphone guy. And then this unit down here, the MOTU, Mark of the Unicorn, whatever it is, this unit is my audio interface. And so here we've got higher quality preamps for microphones and stuff, so you get this, sound of the sound. And so I use this for mic preamps, I use this for outputs, and then the headphone thing so that, it's easy to control, relatively speaking. So we've been looking at my fingers pointing at things in the audio Aquawizard. Let's go look at the other component. Oh, where is it? Here is component number 2 in the Aquawizard Audiowizard Sound System 2000, and it is the PreSonus Production Controller Fader Port 8 or whatever. It's the Fader Port 8, and it has 8 faders, and it you know, you can press buttons and stuff, and if I can turn it back up, so like this actually affected, you know, stuff, audio stuff. And so I'll go over this here in a little bit. Scroll back over here. Now, let's look at the next component in the Aquawizard Audiowizard Sound System 2000. Stand by. Hey, I'm here, down here now. Alright, so now what are we looking at here? We're looking at Logic Pro, because it can't be just Logic by itself. It's gotta be Logic Pro, because it's professional, man. There's like 2 views here, but the thing I actually wanted to look at are my sound check checklist. So we're gonna break this all down. I just wanted to orient us briefly, and then the rest of this is gonna be the instructions for today's lesson. It's not really a lesson, it's just kind of an overview, I guess. We're doing stuff. So we're breaking it down by topic here. First thing we're gonna talk about, how do you set up your sound source? What does your instrument gotta do to actually work with the Aquawizard Audiowizard Sound System 2000? Well, we'll find that out in Chapter 1. And yeah, we'll get our sound into it, we'll process it, we'll mix them together, we'll have some fun. That's outside of the scope of this document. So, for Chapter 1, let's dive in. Oh, Nora, she's messing up my mix. Oh no. What happened? Get off of there, Nor. She's on some button or something like that. At least I can still hear myself, so that's good. Alright. Looks like we're still rolling here. Still rolling along. Nora didn't destroy anything. So yeah, the first thing you gotta do, set up your sound source. So, vocals, I've got a pretty good example of that. I'm using vocal stuff right now. So, this is your number 1 tip for if you want to record vocals. Use a microphone. You point the microphone at your mouth. You don't point the microphone at stuff that you don't want, like drums or PA speakers. Sounds kind of obvious, but then when you're kind of in the moment, this could be kind of a nice reminder of like, oh yeah, that's right. That's where I want to point stuff. If you get feedback on the microphone, don't do that, because that actually causes more feedback, and it's really annoying. Because what happens is your hand is now acting as like basically a parabolic dish, and just aiming more of that sound back into the capsule, and it's just making it worse. So don't do that. And then kind of how like I've got my almost Bob Barker talk show mic here. I could put it right in front of my mouth, and then it would probably sound mostly like this, which some people like that sound of just like breathing into the mic a lot. But to avoid that, just kind of, you could still point it at your mouth, but you don't have to breathe directly into it. It's basically the idea. Alright, so that's your lesson on vocals. Get yourself a good microphone. We got plenty of microphones usually. Not plenty, we usually have just enough microphones, to tell you the truth. But then guitars, we can save on microphones. If we don't have a bunch, we can just plug directly into the system. And basically just, each input, we gotta know which one it is. As long as we know what it is, and you're not, we'll maybe write down, use this input for this thing, but it doesn't really matter. matter too much. But yeah, the key here is you want to get the very loudest signal from your source and use that as like your test signal to go to the system, which is not always distortion. I think I have a note about that. Yeah, sometimes the loudest signal from your guitar, not necessarily the loud distortion. Sometimes it's your clean signal without any compression on it, and just like, because those clean signals, they have to be really spiky. They have to have a really big signal for them to sound as loud as the super thick, heavy distortion. So just be aware of that. Try to just find the biggest signals, and then once you get your signal set, maybe like do a clean check and then throw on the distortion. Sometimes sound guys will even say that. They'll be like, hey, give me your clean, and then hey, can you give me something loud and chunky and distorted? And then they'll have maybe a couple settings for those. But once you do that, just set it, forget it. Don't be tweaking around with your levels after the sound check. Like if you're like, oh, I can't hear myself in the headphones, instead of goofing around with your stuff after you've done the sound check, either do the mixer thing, if you have access to the, if you want to set your headphone mix, or if there's a sound guy, John, just ask them to crank up a thing. And yeah, it's better to kind of communicate that. That way the sound guy can control the overall signal, and then there's not suddenly like you're sitting in a really, hot signal that's distorting when you want it to be clean and stuff like that. So that's good tips there. And kind of the same deal with the drums. I went a little OCD, but that's okay. I was just reviewing my drum knowledge, I guess. About, if you got like a crap ton of mics, here's a bunch of stuff you can do. If you only have a couple mics, maybe just do like a kick and an overhead. Those are kind of like the bare minimum, but yeah, there's basically two types of drum mics, and really if you're doing any acoustic instrument, this is true too. Spot mics to get like the up close sound, so that you can get like a solo sound of, I just have the snare drum, I just have the floor tom. And then you have your overhead mics, which capture a lot of stuff usually. And so you want to kind of blend those together so you have a nice, as if you're in the room with the drum sound, that you'll get that from the overhead mics, but then you get that really nice big rock and roll sound from the spot mics. That's my basic drum tips there. Yeah, and you do your signal check, like try to play snare drum as loud as you can during sound check. That way they'll set a little bit of headroom, but so they know you might smack it harder in the live performance. But anyway, that's chapter 1, setting up your sound source. Chapter 2, we are going to be getting our audio from the sound source into the AS2000. So all you got to do there is plug it in and do a line check, and then make sure it sounds good. Just that easy. But yeah, when it comes to plugging in stuff, microphones, use an XLR cable. Just coordinate where to plug it in. It's, if you're not sure, it's good to kind of get everything all like prepped, get the mic set up on the stand, get your cable ready to go, and then you can just kind of set that like, okay, this is a thing that needs plugged in, and then I'll go and move. And then whenever there's like, okay, everybody, where do we plug stuff in? We'll do that round of setup. That's a good time to coordinate on that. Or you can just friggin' plug it in somewhere and be like, I plugged it into channel 3, and then the sound guy will be like, okay. There's some details depending on the kind of mic that you use. So if it needs phantom power, or 48 volts, or sometimes it's 24 volts, phantom power it's the thing. You want to make sure the power is off when you're plugging in and unplugging the mic. Only have the power on while it's plugged in. It's kind of the idea there. And for some reason, the blue ball microphones, even though they're not technically condenser microphones, they require phantom power too. But yeah, same deal. Checking microphones as stuff. And then guitars, usually if you don't have an amp, you can just plug straight into the thing. If you do have an amp, the best thing to do is use a special split box called a direct inject box or a DI box. And that'll basically have one, you just insert it after all of your pedals and stuff into your signal chain, plug your output from your pedals into the DI box, and then you plug the DI box into the amp, and then the sound guy will have a special output there that you can plug into the mixer, or they. The people doing the sound is what I'm referring to there. Or person. It's usually just one person doing the sound, unless we make it real big, and then maybe we'll have two people. That'd be kind of cool. Get an A1 and A2, we'll get a front of house guy, get a monitor world guy. And again, by guy, I just mean, person that does the thing. So then, Logic is Aquawizard DAW of choice in the AS2000. So, basically what's going on here is every track's gonna have an input. And because Nora was goofing around, here, what do I, tracks, there we go. I was like, what happened to all my tracks? So this is the mixer view of, what is this, Logic? And I don't have them turned on right now, but basically what we're gonna do is every track's gonna have a little send. I think I gotta set some more up here, but so every headphone will have its own mix, and the way that you'll be able to access this is, if you're not familiar with Logic, you can go to the window thingy up here, and you want to open the mixer. It's a Command 2 is the key command, and I just opened it like 5 times. So let me close one of these instances here. And yeah, it's pretty overwhelming at first. One thing to note is this little color strip down here at the bottom refers to what the faders are currently controlling, so that can be very useful. Then once you select what faders you want to control, if you want to do a main mix, this is just go into this main mix that, for example, I'm sending to OBS. So that you can hear it. That's with the send on faders mode off. That's just normal mode where the faders just control a mix. And then there's the special mode. If you select your personalized headphone output, so for example, my headphone output, you'll see all the faders change colors, and you'll see the faders move on the little fader guy. So let me get this, let's switch over to a different view here. Hopefully my Thunderbolt doesn't become unplugged. So I switched to the sends on faders, and now, I know it's hard to see, but, beep, beep, beep. These faders are controlling what goes to my headphones. So I'm moving like this fader, and it's not affecting what's being mixed or sent to OBS or what's being sent to what I'm currently listening to. But if I switch my headphone mix over to this feed, I would hear this change here. So allegedly I've got the delay and reverb cranked up on this one here. So let's switch back over to Logic, and I'll show you, I'll switch it back over to the main mix so that we can hear these faders change the mix. So I'm going back to the mixer, go to sends on faders, just turn it off. There we go. And now, get my camera monitor. You saw the faders move there. It's pretty cool. And back. So now, for example, we don't currently hear any delay or reverb on my voice, but check. Oh, now we do, because I'm adjusting the reverb channel. And let's hear some delay. That's delay. It's fun. Fun. Okay. See, I told you fun was going to be outside the scope of this document, so. Yeah, so that's kind of, that's a thing. Let's switch some stuff up. And I don't have any tips for mixing in your headphones. Or wait, do I? So processing your audio, I just have some extra info in here that I'm not going to go into detail right now. But basically stuff gets processed, leveled out, makes it sound good. And then you want to mix your sources in here. I basically just did that. Oh, I do have some tips. Okay, so basically I think it would be a good idea if everyone did their mix while we're practicing running through a song. So that way it's the real sound and you can play and hear yourself while you're live. Generally what you want to do is really crank up your own vocals a lot because your vocals bounce around in your head. In order for you to really hear how they sound through the headphones, you kind of need them to be louder than what your voice sounds like in your head. So you really want to crank those up a lot. I know, nobody likes to hear their own voice, but it's just the way it is. And then you might want to make sure your instrument's really cranked up too, just so you can hear what you're playing compared to everyone else. And then a little goes a long way in terms of mixing in everyone else. So especially the drums, you already have the drums in the room, so maybe just turn up a little bit of the kick drum. But then again, if you are Mark and you're playing the drums, you might want to crank them up even more just so you hear them in your headphones rather than hearing the bleed from the actual instrument. It just really is all up to you what works for your own preference, but I think we can spend a little bit more time getting comfortable with the headphones maybe in our next band practice, just so we feel good about it. I think that has to do with Chapter 5s, and that's outside the scope of this document. So, yeah, not legal advice. I'm not a lawyer, but I think all this stuff leads to more fun. But I don't have any evidence for that. That's basically what I'm saying. All right, well, I think that covers today's lesson on sound check checklist and breaking it down by getting your sound sounding good when you're in the headphone thing with the sound and all that. So I hope this was informative. It only took 23 minutes to record, so if you have any questions, that's just too bad. I will see you on the awkward goodbye. My hand's not in this frame. Oh, I should... Nora says goodbye. I can't hear her purring. Well, that's because she stopped purring. Okay. Well, goodbye. Is it off? Is it off? Did I turn the thing off?